Welcome to the Employment Wednesday podcast with Yvonne Shabangu. Have you heard of the scripture Hosea 4 verse 6? My people perish because of the lack of knowledge. The same applies to your career. When you don't know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it, you are likely to make wrong career choices. But worry not. Employment Wednesdays is here for you to offer you all the answers relating to your career and offer you strategies to develop your career. Enjoy.
Hi everyone, my name is Alexis Phelps. I'm an admitted attorney of the High Court, and fun fact, I studied at UJ with Yvonne, and she was my first year tutor in my first year of university, and I kind of forced her to be friends with me. I didn't exactly give her a choice. So I've known her since 2019, which is what, like 6 years? 5, 6, I think this year is 7 years.
2019. Oh my goodness. Yes, that is 7 years.
That's a long time. That's almost a decade. I've almost known you for a whole decade.
Yeah.
That's insane. That's like a whole grade 4 child.
That is crazy.
So on this episode, we've exchanged roles and I'm going to be the host. And together we're going to uncover the Miss Yvonne Shabangu in all of her glory. First though, there's a few shout outs. The first one is Neo Marota 34. They say, what I heard is know yourself to be able to do decisions that will lead you to your purpose. Having a purpose is very important. The second one is First Lady Chippy. Hey, Yvonne, what a beautiful conversation. Thank you so much for having Shidi on this episode. I learned so much from her. She's amazing. Catch you again on the next one. Shidi was great, though. That was a good choice.
She was. Shidi, yeah.
Then we have Shanduko. As a candidate attorney aspiring to be an attorney, this is inspiring. Hard work pays off indeed. And then we have Glenn Miller Tema. The issue of viability is suggestive of a lack of imagination. Lawyers must try to find their uniqueness, which will make them stand out. Dali Mpofu and Mandela are an example. They became humanitarian lawyers in an environment that didn't allow such lawyers. Today, the environment wants corporate lawyers and international law experts. And last but not least, we have Arika K. I had to include this one. How do I heart this video 100,000 times? Same, girl. I also want to know.
Just keep sharing, keep subscribing. That's how you heart 1,000 times.
There you go. TikTok, YouTube, Instagram,
Yes.
everywhere. And then my favorite part of Employment Wednesdays, the For Your Information corner. There are new proposals for labour law in South Africa with over 60 amendments to existing labour laws that have been proposed by the Department of Employment and Labour. The proposed amendments will focus on simplification of procedural fairness and, very importantly, the exclusion of high-paid employees from certain statutory provisions, among many others. The latest amendments are intended to ensure labour laws remain relevant and responsive to the changes and challenges in the labour market, which are unemployment, especially if you are in South Africa. So I think equality is where they're trying to get to, especially on a pay scale, because a pay gap is a real problem in South Africa.
Yeah, it is. But, I think when it comes to the pay gap, right, it is going to be so difficult to find balance, right? Because I do think whatever happens, people that are in private institutional in the corporate spaces are always going to earn more because there's more profit generated there. I think hence maybe some of the protection is probably going to be taken away from them to protect those that are vulnerable. But
100%.
Yeah.
I think my biggest issue is that if you are just above that threshold, even as a middle income earner, you're still not protected.
Yeah, it does create problems, hey?
And I mean, if you're looking at like very high paid, like top tax bracket, I can't even afford to go into that boomed off area salary, then I can understand them not having protections. They've got certain other resources available to them if, God forbid, something happens. But those middle income earners they're struggling just
Yeah.
as much as the lower income brackets.
Yeah, it's a trick one, because I remember there was a video I was watching, right? But this was pertaining to school fees, like higher institution school fees. Some guy was complaining that their parent is a teacher, right? They considered being part of the middle class, but they don't qualify for grants, normal grants and bursaries, your NSFAS and stuff. But again, they can't afford to pay the fees because of high taxes and other responsibilities. So you end up being vulnerable in as much as society considers you as the middle class.
It'll be interesting to see how they address
It's going to be
that.
an interesting JD.
And then, so if you're currently in or going into the workforce, please familiarize yourself with these things and the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. Then it's board exam season. Again, please ensure that you're preparing and staying locked in. Board exams are difficult, but never being admitted as an attorney is going to be even more difficult to deal with. I don't know if I can tell people this, but I share some tips and notes and things on my TikTok, sometimes my Instagram, but mostly my TikToks. You can head over there if you want notes or tips on how to get over it. And then finally, please don't forget to apply to university. Almost all of the universities have opened their applications now. So go onto their websites, read what is required of you now so that you can start preparing, getting your documentation together, getting things certified. They're always going to want a certified copy. So go to a police station, you can get that sorted, because otherwise November is going to come and you're still not going anywhere in January. But now for the fun stuff. Miss Ma'am.
Hello.
I think we all know Miss Yvonne. But in case we don't, Miss Ma'am, can you explain to us how you went from law student to media mogul in the making?
Yeah, guys, that's a lot of pressure. Calling me a media mogul, that's a lot. But my journey has been quite an interesting one, right? I am a person of faith. I do believe that I am led into different paths at different seasons and at different times. And one of the things that I've always told myself is that before I depart this world, I will explore every single ability that I have, whether it's academically, whether it's a talent, whatever it is, whether it's service, but I'll always explore it. And I think I'm really so blessed that I do have a great support structure, like particularly my parents. I think my parents don't see me just as a normal human being. They see me like as a super human being, where they allow me to be anything. Like even when I switched things around, when I went to school, like back to doing my doctorate, my mom was like, again? But you know what? I thought you'd be a medical doctor, but you know what? If this gives you that title to say you're going to be an academic doctor, go for it. So I think for me, really, it's just allowing yourself to flow, It's good to have a plan, right? To know that, you know what, this is what I'm going to do in the next 3 years, in the next 2 years. But sometimes that can be limiting because now you're so fixated on these timelines that you have and these plans that you have, right? So I would say have a plan, but also flow with what life gives you. I wouldn't have thought that I would do a master's in banking law. I wouldn't have thought that I would do a doctorate in mercantile law. Fun fact, I actually thought I would do a doctorate in social security, but life had other plans and I had to flow with it. I wouldn't have thought that I'm going to go in-house, but also life had something else. I had this cute little plan about how my career is going to go, but as life happens, I've just learned to flow with it. So the big thing is flow. Show up where you need to show up at a time you need to show up, but flow. That's how I got here. I don't have any magic or anything like that. And unfortunately, I'm not even going to say work hard or anything like that. It is important that you work hard, but flow. When you're presented with an opportunity where you can explore your abilities and talent, do it. Show up and flow.
Some people are called to do certain things, and I feel like then things flow easily.
That is so true.
Because you'll have, when you get sort of like rivers and things, and then there's always like a rock in the way. And then the river's like, cool, I'm going to cut through you, or I'll just go around.
Yeah.
You know, it's never like this giant, I'm cutting you off immediately kind of thing. And when that happens, that's redirection.
Yeah.
Then this is not meant for you. We're going to find something else. I mean, as much as I struggled becoming an attorney, I mean, it wasn't easy, but nothing ever stood in my way and was like, this is not for you. Like, this was my calling. So I remember you telling me.
Now you're coming out with secrets.
No, it's okay. This is informative. It's okay. We can share this one.
Okay.
This one's okay. So I remember you telling me about how you wanted to be in media. So I remember for years and years that you knew that this was where you were going to end up.
Yeah.
So, and then you also obviously said that you were hoping to use your legal background and any connections you would make in the legal field sort of to assist you, which is the logical thing to do. Do you feel for you that you're satisfied with sort of the path that your journey took to get here?
So, I always love it when people ask me, because sometimes how I show up makes it seem easy or seem as I've always known, right? I do believe that my path took the longer route as opposed to the natural route to get here. Like, backstory, right? I've always wanted to be in media. I would have studied media studies. Like, I remember my high school teacher was like, no, you are not going to study media studies. You are not going to study journalism. And there was a stereotype around like being a creative, basically, to say, are you going to get a job? And I think there are still those type of stigmas. Are you going to get a job? Are you going to be respected in society? You know, what's going to happen to you? Are you going to have a sustainable life? So for me, it was such a long route, right? But I do believe that going back to what you said, some people are called. Where you're called to, you will never miss it. You can be delayed, you can pause and whatever that happens, but you will never miss it. And I would have liked the easier way to say I get my journalism degree and I go into media, I go on news, be a news anchor, I go into radio. I would have loved that easy go. But I'm realizing that God is in the details of my life. Every single thing that I've had to go through, what I liked, what I didn't like, actually prepared me to be here right now. And it's actually preparing me for the bigger picture. So I think I've learned to appreciate that everything is all part of the plan. Even the things that we feel like are delaying us, even the things that we feel like, oh no, I shouldn't be going through this. So in a nutshell, when I look in hindsight, happiness. But when I was going through it, I thought, oh my God, I just want to be a creative. I just want to speak for a living. I just want to be in radio. I just want to, and I wouldn't have imagined for my path or my dream to be in a podcast form. I wouldn't have thought, but now when I look at it again in hindsight, I'm like, okay, I would have loved to be on SABC, never know it's going to happen. I would have loved to be on YFM or wherever, but at least I get to have my own show. I get to call the shots. I get to decide how it goes. I get to decide what goes out. So I'm happy in hindsight.
And I mean, our waiting season is where we learn the most. And I mean, look at you. I don't think you would be a PhD candidate right now. And with the masters, etc., if you had have done the journalism first, I think it would have gone completely different.
I think my life would have been completely different. Even just to go back to say, when I mentioned that even the things that we don't like, they align. Had I not been badly injured, I wouldn't have done my masters because I would have gotten a job right after my LLB. Had I not done the masters, I wouldn't have done my doctorate. Had I not done the doctorate, I wouldn't have been actually also pivoting out of my current space right now. So I feel like every single thing is intertwined. That whole saying that God does turn graves into gardens, the very things that are meant to take you out, the very things that are meant to destroy you, are the very things that are going to be elevating you or taking you to the next level. So
definitely. And all you need is a mustard seed size.
Yes,
just that's all you need. Okay, then how did you decide that law would be the bridge between your situation at the time and your desired future?
Well, I will say I didn't know. Like, I didn't know it was going to be the bridge, really. And it goes back to the first part where I was saying it is quite important to flow, right? And it is important to show up. I always say one of my biggest strengths is that I can do anything. And when I say anything, I mean that. If you take me right now into an accounting class, give me a couple of days, I practice and practice, I can be above average. So I think that's one of my God-given talents to say, I'm able to strive in every environment that I'm placed in because I have a willingness to learn. So really, I never really knew that law was going to be the bridge between what I desired to become and all of that. I just thought to myself, I applied for a law degree. I finished a law degree. I have to make my parents proud. You know, my brains can't go to waste. And I just kept showing up. And at some point when you keep showing up, things come together, guys. And that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you can plan all you want and you can have these pyramids and all of these things that we like to do and the 50 million steps. But sometimes it's in the simplicity of just showing up when you need to. If you have to show up at 10 a.m. in the morning, be there at 10 a.m. in the morning. If in this season you're supposed to be studying, be studying. If a season comes to an end, gracefully handle it, you know. So I really wouldn't say I knew, but I've as I grow as a person, I've learned to honor seasons for what they are. If a season comes to an end, I embrace it, you know. I remember I once shared about this when my articles came to an end. Before I was told that I'm not going to be returned, I knew because I could feel it. I could sense it to a certain extent because my puzzle wasn't as complete. But in that knowing again, I knew that I had a different plan because I told myself, in as much as I don't want to be in practice, I was like, I want to practice maybe for 3 years. After 3 years, then go in-house after such a time, after going in-house and going into academia. I had this whole thing planned out. But lo and behold, God had different plans for me. Then I was able to pivot into in-house. You know, even when I started in-house, there's a note that I wrote to myself. I remember I was so uncomfortable. Like the first 6 months of my job, I just wanted to leave. Like I just wanted to leave. And then I remember God was like to me, you're leaving, where are you going to? What have you learned? You know, and then, but I'm like, I don't want this. Then when I look at it right now, I'm doing a doctorate in mercantile, specializing in labor law. That is what I do in-house. I'm a labor specialist. And when you think about it, had I forced the hand of God to take a different path at the time, wanting to resign, wanting to leave the first 6 months of my job, I don't think my mind would have been flexible for the doctorate because the role that I currently have, the job that I currently do, you know, I deal with a lot of different labor-related matters. It helps me understand my research better, right? But I wouldn't have thought about it because, I mean, you have a master's in banking law. Now you're getting a job. You're supposed to be a labor specialist. And in your mind, you're thinking, I don't want to do this. I just want to handle money. I just want to be in corporate. I just want to get paid more and all of that. But God was like, sit there and be still. And now I get it. It makes sense. So just flow. Be where you need to be at the time you need to be.
Just flow.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about, just for a minute, your articles experience. Yeah. Because articles is like next level difficult.
Yeah.
To anyone that's currently going through articles, my heart goes out to you.
Yeah.
So what made the struggle worth it for you? Mm-hmm. Because I feel like if our heart's not in it, it's not going to be worth it. Yeah. It's so easy to give up in that season if your heart's not in it, if it's not your passion, if you're not called to it, it's so easy to just be like, okay. And I mean, for you wanting to go into media, I feel like, did you ever have those moments where you thought, maybe I must just leave this and do something else?
I had a quit moment where like I wanted to quit like 1 year, 8 months into my articles. I really wanted to quit so badly. And then I had a conversation with my friend, one of my best friends, and I was telling him like, I'm done. And for me, it wasn't even about the environment or the toughness. Because guys, if one thing about me, I'm one of the most resilient people you can ever come across, right? So for me, like I don't struggle with hard things. I do hard things for fun. Like I'm a tough girl, right? So for me, the challenges were not even a problem, but it was the I get uncomfortable in spaces I'm not supposed to be in. Like I don't feel like myself and I don't perform to my best abilities.
That's the Lord's work.
Yes. So I started feeling that. Like I started feeling this friction. And I had a conversation with my friend. I was like, hey, listen, I'm going to quit. And then she's like, no, you know. And I had also gotten a job, like an in-house job at the time. And then I'm like, no, I'm going to quit and stuff like that. I'm ready to quit. And then my friend was like, no, you left with 4 months. You've passed your board exams. Everything is in order. Just hang in there for that 4 months. And then I remember my prospective employer, who's my employer right now, then said to me, my manager then advised, she said, no, it's important that your role doesn't require you to be an admitted attorney, but it would be nice for you to get admitted. Then even it's easier for you to get promoted. It's easier for other doors to open. So I held it together. But more than anything, guys, articles are hard. I always say the process of training to become a lawyer is like military training. There's no two way about it. Law is hard. And you just need to make up your mind. I believe in pep talks. So pep talk yourself, and not from a perspective of saying, I'm going to watch Yvonne and feel motivated. Great if you're going to watch me and feel motivated. But I think you have to have a relationship with yourself where you know how to sit yourself down and convince yourself to do the things that you're supposed to do. So for me, when the day is hard, I would wake up and tell myself that it's just one more day. It's one more day, literally 6 months ago or 8 months ago, and before you know it, you're done. And I think more than anything, pray for a good working environment, hey?
So important.
I know that not all of us are going to get to work for amazing employers and all of that, but it is important that you pray for a good working environment, because then that also, like it directs you to where you want to go to. I'll give you a typical example. Because of the beautiful environment that I was in, my choice of not being in practice is not because of trauma. You know, a lot of the people, I know a lot of lawyers don't want to practice, not because they don't want to, but because of the trauma of the environments that they were in. I had the liberty of choosing my path, not from a place of trauma. It was from a place I experienced how good it gets. Guys, it really does get good. Like work environment, if it's good, benefits, salary, or whatever if everything is good, it really does get good. But it wasn't it wasn't the spark that was lighting up my world. You know, it wasn't the thing for me. So, and I remember one of my directors said to me, you know, I feel so sad. And I was like, why? It's like, you're so brilliant. But again, I can tell that this is not your passion. I can tell that you can do anything. If I want you to meet deadline, you meet deadline. If I want you to submit excellent presentations and reports and everything, but this is not your passion. You light up when you speak. You light up when you present and all of that, and maybe look into that, you know. So sometimes also having people that see your light for what it is, you know, because some people would rather have you in their space where you're building their empire for them, and then other people would rather release you into a place where you will flourish.
Yes, that's so important.
Yeah.
Well, then I have to ask, what is your craziest candidate attorney story?
Oh, guys. This one time I had a court appearance, and guys, don't do this. Like if you're a candidate attorney, make sure that day before, if you've got a court hearing or whatever, make sure that your bundles and everything day before it's in order, or 2 days before if you have that liberty. But don't try and say you'll go to the office top of the morning and do it before you go to court and stuff. You are going to be in a mess.
Murphy's Law will get you.
So I have one of, I think, because I didn't appear a lot, right? Because we would hire counsel for our appearances. So I think I appeared about 3-4 times. So I have this appearance in the morning, right? So before I went, I left the office the day before. I was like, you know what, these are just a few papers. It's about 20 pages. I'm like, I'll be able to print this founding affidavit in the morning and have my partner sign it, and everything like that would be in order. Go home, sleep well, wake up early, come to the office. Guess what? The machine was not working. The papers just kept on
goodness.
jamming. Like, They just kept
no.
jamming. It was a lot, right? Okay, cool.
And then you want to cry.
Yes, like I was
There's no time.
There's no time. I was panicking and all of that. Okay, we find a way to get the stuff printed. I think I went downstairs to an office that was renting on a floor below, asked them to print, and then they helped with the printing. And then whilst I'm busy punching the papers to put them in the file and everything, you know those what do they call them? I don't know. The paper, you know, when you punch your
Those metal
documents,
pins that you put in them to keep them together.
so you know when you punch your papers like for the holes, and then the small round pieces actually go into that puncher holder,
Yes.
and then we had a carpet.
Oh,
Did
no.
that thing not spill all over? Now I'm like scared. I'm running like your guys.
And
that
those
day-
always go everywhere.
They went everywhere. Now I'm trying to sweep. I'm like, let me just leave it alone. Now I'm thinking if clients come in and it's like this and I'm in court, what's going to happen? Like, yeah, that was crazy. But also I think that moment, in as much as it's nothing big or terrible, it also taught me how it's important to plan ahead. It's important to manage your time, because when you have enough time, you do things appropriately without feeling like to be speedy, to be all over the place and all of that. So guys, prepare your bundles day before. Just make sure that your bundles are prepared day before.
Yeah, that's very important. Look, I do a lot of criminal law. So my craziest story was when I got locked in Kempton Park's holding cells by accident. That traumatized me. So all of my friends and family who I have made subscribe and watch your show are going to hear me say this and they're all going to go, this story again. Yes, it's traumatized
No,
me.
I can
okay?
imagine. I would have cried my lungs out. Imagine
was stuck down
being
there.
locked in a cell and you don't have your phone. And now I think also, I don't know if it's everyone, but I do feel like rooms and spaces embody an aura.
Oh,
so I feel like
100%.
for me, the moment I enter a cell, I'm thinking jail. It feels like you in jail, or it feels like, am I a criminal? Or
And
like
it smells bad, and it's so noisy. There's so many people. There's so many things happening. That's how I got locked down there. Is the sergeant that took me down just forgot that I was there because we were underneath the court, and he just left me. And then when he found me, he was like, "What are you still doing here?" Sir,
you left me behind.
I need you to unlock so I can go back, please.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
that's
crazy.
my traumatizing story. So how did you choose to do a master's in banking law? Like, how did you make the decision to choose that one? Because I feel like UJ especially, if you guys don't know, she did a master's at UJ. It's the best university.
Yeah. I needed you to say that.
We both proud UJ alumni. My heart is forever orange. I know-
Forever and ever, amen.
Yes, forever. So UJ gives you a lot of options when you do your LLM. And then, you being in-house counsel and doing the sort of the labor speciality, how did you choose banking law?
So one of the reasons why I chose banking law, I used to enjoy banking in final year.
Oh, that makes one of us.
So I used to enjoy banking so much. And I loved how Professor Hugo used to explain concepts, right? Like, I enjoy, and I remember I used to, one of my friends, special shout out Sean, she used to sit next to me and she would always say to me, every time we're in the banking class, you're so excited. You have things to talk about. And also, I love the idea of not like studying banking is a bit different compared to like banking the industry, because there's different sectors into it. But I also used to love like navigating banking apps, understanding your interest rates and all of that type of stuff. So then I thought to myself, why not study banking? Well, I had a different view of what a master's in banking law would be. Not that I was disappointed, but I really expected it to be centered around like banking in essence, but you realize that theory and practicality of it is different. But also I was very fortunate to be supervised by Professor Hugo, who's one of the best, he's the blueprint of banking internationally.
Yes.
So yeah, imagine when you doing your dissertation and you forget to cite him, then he tells you that this came from an article. And then you're just like, oh my goodness. That's the nice thing about also being supervised by best people in the game. So yeah, that was that, just the love for banking. And then also to me, it felt like I could like money conversations never end, guys. Like we're always going to have money conversations. We're always going to talk about things like financial inclusion, financial literacy. And for me, so my research paper was on financial inclusion, digitization of the banking industry to enhance financial inclusion. So for me, like, financial literacy will always be a thing. Financial education will always be a thing, especially considering the country that we're in, considering that a lot of women, people of color, and other people from disadvantaged groups were left behind in educating them about finances and money and everything. I feel like that will always be a conversation, that will always be a place where one can learn or even teach other people. So I felt like, you know what, this places me at an advantage, because also then you get to do other subjects like commercial law. We're always going to have conversations surrounding commerce, you know, even stuff like credit law and stuff like this. So yeah, I felt like, okay, this is a good one.
I hope you can all hear the passion that comes through for this Employment Wednesdays. Like this is how we got here.
Yeah.
It's her passion for bringing people with her.
Yeah.
And how much longer do we have to wait for Dr. Shabangu?
Oh, guys. The delusional in me, right, wants to say, I'm hoping to be done within the next 3 years. That's the delusional me. But also I've learned, like, looking at other people's doctorate journeys and stuff, I've seen that sometimes there are hindrances. Sometimes there's your writer's block. There's a lot of nuances in between. So really, graciously, I'll give myself a good 5 years, but delusional me and crazy work ethic me, 3 years. So we can say between 3 to 5 years. Because also that's also then dependent on our supervisors, because they also play a very big part. I could think I'm done here and you know what, it's smooth. And then my supervisor's like, no, you can actually do better, you know. Let's And I think that's also another thing about I'm also being supervised by the best in the game. So when you're being supervised by people that are experts in the industry, you can't just, you know, like, oh, you know, here's my thought view, let's just submit. No, they're very pedantic and they're perfectionist and all of that. And obviously you see at the end with your results and how far your papers take you. But yeah, let's give it 3 to 5 years.
Okay, so we still have to wait.
Yeah.
But it's fine. We would have been friends for a very long time by then.
Yeah.
Then I want to go back to something you said in the beginning. Mm-hmm. How has your faith shaped your journey?
Yeah.
Because I think in any journey, there are hindrances, there's difficulties that anyone faces. Mm-hmm. Law kind of adds to that on its own, getting through university, getting through your master's, then you had articles, now you're doing the PhD thing. There's lots of things that happen that put you onto sort of different paths in different rooms that you didn't think you would be in.
Yeah.
But how did your faith, because Yvonne's a very faithful person, how did that shape your journey?
It has been a major, major part of my journey. So a lot of the times people suffer from imposter syndrome, right? And I always say I've never suffered from that because I have an understanding of the grace of God that is upon my life. There's certain rooms that you will see me in that I'm not deserving and I'm not qualifying in, but I just have to be there. So I'm a firm believer that you have to believe in something. There has to be something bigger than you that is the reason why you are doing that particular thing. So at the back of my mind, at the front of my mind, everywhere, my bigger picture has always been my faith. So I know that when things are going good, I go back to God in gratitude. When things are not going well, I go back to God in questions to say, what do I do? Where do I go? Because also one of the hardest things I've had to learn, or rather to experience, is that I don't want anything that does not have God in it. You know, I don't want anything that is not led. I don't want anything that does not belong to me. I never, because we know the saying that says life is short. I never want to waste my life away chasing things that have nothing to do with me or things that are not mine. So my faith constantly reminds me of where I need to be, when I need to be, and how I actually get there. And sometimes the how is not the conventional one, but it's always nice, man, knowing that you go through challenges, but you're covered, you know, because even right now, up until this day, when I see any challenge or any issue, I look at it, I'm like, I know that the greater God is going to fix it for me. May not happen now in my timing, in my way of thinking, but eventually it's going to be sorted. And God has always proven me right. Things always work out.
Same. So what would you say was your, because I feel like I could even give this answer, and I think some of you have thought of it as well just from listening to Yvonne. But how did you get to the idea of Employment Wednesdays? And because I feel like it's important.
Yeah.
I saw like your reach was 3.94 million views like a week ago.
Yeah.
Which it's so important. It's important work that you're doing. It's important information that you're giving to people. And it's unattainable information if we're being honest with ourselves. So how did this develop?
So just for context, right? You guys are there on TikTok, and we're growing like crazy on TikTok. And statistically speaking, like the numbers are good, but you guys are not watching the full videos. I'm going to hold your hands when I say this. You are not benefiting if you're only watching the 2-minute video from TikTok. You have to move from TikTok and come to YouTube, and then you get the full experience and the full benefit. Now we're going to go to how it developed. So we all know that we have a very big problem of unemployment in our country. And it's a global issue. Unemployment is a global issue. Like a very few countries have a zero rate of unemployment, right? And it's usually countries like European countries and stuff. But in Africa, we still have quite a huge number of people that are unemployed, or even if they are employed, they are in the informal sector. Or say, for instance, they're in the formal sector, they don't know their rights and all of these things. So the whole point of Employment Wednesdays has always been to create conversations surrounding some of the career options that you and I can actually pursue in order to be able to sustain ourselves financially, emotionally, overall our lives, because we do have also another problem where people are being graduates, but they end up staying at home, and they stay at home because maybe the degree that they studied, the market is full, or the degree that they studied is just it's a theoretical degree. It's not a professional degree. So one of the reasons why we have this platform is like to help you to say, okay, you have studied whatever you studied. What can I do with this? How do I go into the work market? How do I go into the job market? Because obviously sometimes you've studied whatever degree that is deemed not professional. So it also becomes our responsibility to say, okay, what can you do with that BA? What can you do with that political degree, political science degree? Where can you go? How can you do it? So for me, I've always wanted to serve men. I've always wanted to teach people. I've always wanted to share knowledge. I think at the heart of who I am, it is sharing information, sharing knowledge, and employment, and making sure that everybody is financially savvy and in a good space is the core of who I am, because I do believe the more we are employed, the better the economy, the comfortable our families are. Like I always say this, I don't want to be the only employed person at home, because the next thing I must look after all of you. You get what I mean? But the more we are all employed, the better we share costs, we split things and all of that. So yeah, man, the heart of it all is just to share information and try and come up with strategic ways to develop our careers and enhance our careers through people that have walked through the path, or that have been in a similar position, and I always encourage people to say, even if you see an episode that's not within your industry, I'd always say watch, because you never know how that person's methodology is going to trigger you, because it may actually spark a different enthusiasm or a different idea in you to help you pursue a different path, or actually help you do better in your current career or your current season of your life. So yeah, that's how we got there. Just the love for the people and sharing information and actually wanting the unemployment rate to decrease. And also one of, when you look at stats, right, one of the reasons why people are unemployed as well is that they are not knowledgeable. So sometimes there are opportunities, but people don't know how to access those opportunities, or people don't know how to brand themselves in a manner that those opportunities will reach them. There are people that are brilliant, but they don't get jobs, but now you find out that, okay, why are you not getting a job? They go to interviews, maybe they're not fully prepared, or they don't know how to articulate themselves, or they don't know how to communicate well. So that's why you have Employment Wednesdays. While you listen to the stories, try and go out there and implement in your life. You never know it's going to work.
I think that's so important for law students, candidate attorneys as well, because having that LLB degree is so versatile. You can really do anything. And I think you are a pivotal example of that. You don't just have to be a practicing attorney. There's so many things you can be and you can do, and so many places you can go as well. I mean, you're not limited to South Africa at all. Australia is always looking for LLB degrees. Please stay here. We need attorneys in South Africa. But no, I really think that it's so important. I mean, I've even learned so much. I mean, I'm already admitted. And I feel like almost every episode that I watch, there's something that I can take away from it. I mean, I don't think anyone ever plans to sit and stay in a job for 50 years and be in the same job or the same profession. And I was having a conversation with a colleague of mine yesterday where we said, you don't have to keep doing the same thing for the rest of your life.
You don't have to.
We're young. You can do so many things. You're not limited. So like, why are you limiting yourself?
It's so crazy that you say that. I was telling somebody at the gym. So one of my favorite things to do, right, is going into the sauna. So every time I go to the gym, I love to have like 30 minutes sauna time. And sometimes we have conversations with people there. So I was telling someone at the gym, I was like, right now I want to learn a new skill. And then they're like, oh no, but why? You seem like you have it all figured out. You have a decent job, you've got your nice podcast, you have this and that, you're studying. I was like to them, that's the thing. I feel like I love the idea of learning new things, but also I have an understanding that we don't have to keep doing the same thing, right? And again, also, we need to have things that we're good at that have nothing to do with our pay grade. Just being able to randomly dance, but you're not paid for it, or sing or cook or play a piano, but you're not paid for it. But then it also helps you relax or escape from your work and your deadlines and all of that. So like I'm pro, you really don't have to do something for a long time, guys. I'm not saying jump and hop to every company, every chance you get, but really, we are multifaceted human beings. And I like to believe that everybody is a creative. And not to say everybody must go start a company or whatever, but like explore yourself. Figure out, can I sing? No. Can I dance? No. Can I speak in front of people? Try it. Let it fail and go try something else. Especially if you have the means to. If you have time, just use that time. I always say to people, by the time I have my children, I would have done so many crazy things. And not because I feel like children hold you back, but because I feel like now I have capacity. Now I can shoot at this time without thinking, oh my God, I need to rush home. Somebody's waiting for me so that I can cook and stuff. So if you have time and capacity, explore yourself. Explore the things that you can do. And sometimes if you find out that you can't do anything, there's room to learn. Like, it's going to take long. It's going to be irritating. But the beauty is in the journey, not the outcome.
It's going to be worth it
in
the end. So you mentioned gym. I think you're probably one of the most disciplined people that I've ever come across.
Yeah.
So how do you stay so disciplined all the time? Because it's difficult. Life gets in the way. There's sometimes so many things on our plate that it's easy to be like, okay, I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I'm going to procrastinate and then we'll see what happens next. And what advice do you have for us regarding staying disciplined?
I would say, so I am disciplined, right? That's a given. But more than anything, I think one of my superpowers is my willingness. Firstly, my willingness. and then my mental grit and consistency. So I've mastered an understanding that consistency is not the same throughout, right? So there's days where I'm happy to wake up at 4:30 in the morning, go to the gym, and have the rest of my day good and active and all of that, right? But also there are days where I can't wake up that early, and maybe because I slept in the AMs, so it wouldn't make sense for me to sleep at 2 a.m. and wake up at 4:30. Then on that particular day, I need to be okay with going to the gym at 4:30 and only pushing for an hour and going back home. So there's that. And then also committing to yourself, guys, like just when you, it's one thing not honoring a word that you gave to somebody else. That's fine. You disappoint them, you apologize, and life goes on. But when you don't honor words that or commitments that you give to yourself, you have to live with that for the rest of your life. Like it follows you everywhere. You keep thinking, had I finished, what was going to happen? Had I done the things that I said I would do, what was going to happen? So I would say start off with committing to self. When you commit to self, and also have your why, I think now we live in an era where social media is our biggest influencer before the influencers, just like social media in essence. People these days can't even think for themselves. They can't even decide what they like or where they want to go. They just go on social media and think, okay, I'm going to buy this couch because everybody else has it. I'm going to buy this dress because everybody else has it. So I would say sit with yourself, figure out who you are, what you like, what would you like to achieve, and how do you achieve it? I'll make an example. I'm an extremist, so I don't have a problem with doing hard stuff. Like, I really don't have. But also I've come to an understanding that not everybody has a high tolerance for hard stuff. I have a high tolerance for pain. It's ridiculous, right? And sometimes I do think it's to my detriment. But other people don't have that. So if you figure out how things work for you, then you work on that. When I started my health journey, because I like saying also in as much as I can do hard stuff, but I also love like soft in a way, right? I started off with just walking, just walking. And then eventually I lift. And then from lifting, I remember sometime you were giving me tips on lifting.
My goodness.
Like, no, try this, do the burpees that way and stuff.
I mean, did it help?
Yes, it did help.
Great.
It does help. Because I will definitely try recommendations, right? So I think just know yourself, work with yourself and be gracious with yourself and allow yourself to evolve and improve. If you asked me a year ago, would I be running? Right now, I'm busy training for a marathon. I wouldn't have thought that I'm going to train for a marathon. I wouldn't have agreed to even register for a 10-kilometer run. But now every single day I'm running. I have a running plan, 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers. So grow with yourself, but first get to know yourself and then be realistic and then allow yourself to grow. Even in you being realistic, don't underplay yourself to say, oh no, I'm just going to keep running 2 kilometers for 6 months. No, you have to grow. You keep evolving and doing better and all of that. So yeah, man, discipline is a muscle. It just doesn't happen. It happens because you keep honoring the word. If you look at your schedule and you think you're going to be able to wake up at 6 a.m. every single day, fine. You don't have to wake up at 5 a.m. like Yvonne or like whoever. Find what works with your schedule and be there at that time. If you say it's 6 a.m., wake up at 6 a.m. and journal. If you say at 5 a.m., do that. If you say at 4:30, I'm closing the laptop, I'm taking a 10-minute walk, do that. Over time, it becomes a part of who you are.
I think mindset also has quite a big role to play in there. And I don't know how many of you saw that Miss Yvonne did High Rocks not so long ago.
Yeah.
How did you even complete that? I feel like High Rocks is insane. I was watching the Cape Town videos again this past weekend. I don't even think I would have made it past the first obstacle without having to be hospitalized.
It is scary. So I want you to do High Rocks. I highly recommend a person to do High Rocks. And not for, I know there are people that are very like, they're actual High Rocks athletes and sporty and they're so fixated on finish time. Forget finish time. I need everybody who has the capacity to actually attempt High Rocks because it works on your mental grit, it works on your physical fitness, and it works on your spirit. There were times where I was cramping like crazy. I couldn't feel my body. I remember at some point doing a little prayer because I'm like, my village people are after me. Why can't I feel my leg? I'm like, hey, what's going on here?
Your ancestors are coming to collect today.
Yes, I'm like, they're coming to collect. I couldn't feel, but I caught myself reciting the scripture, greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world. I don't know how many times I repeated that. At some point, I prayed in tongues. Eventually, I think by kilometer 7, I had regained my strength. And also, my whole
kilometer
thing,
7.
yes. So you do it like 8 kilometers, right? And then at every kilometer there's a station. So you run 1 kilometer, stop, and then do your skiing. Run another kilometer, then you
so
roll.
you have to do all of those activities after you've run a kilometer.
Yeah, so 1 kilometer activity, and I think that's what
That's insane.
Yeah, that's what knocks people out, because you have to be a hybrid trainer. So you can't just be a runner because it knocks you out by strength training. You can't just be a strength trainer because it knocks you out by running.
That's very
so
impressive.
You need to like be hybrid. But it's really such a great experience. You are never the same. And it shows you, man, how you can do hard things. I think because I did High Rocks, I actually thought I can actually do comrades, So, yeah.
I'll be there to watch you. I won't join you, but I'll be there to cheer you on.
Okay, I love me a lot of cheerleaders.
Okay, great. I'll be there to do that. So then, one last sort of question. Mm-hmm. Now I'm forcing you to spill your secrets. But do you have like a hidden secret talent that nobody knows you have?
I'm a great poet, right? Very great. And I think I'm a great writer.
That makes sense.
I'm a great writer. I'm a great poet. And I can draw. But because drawing is something that you have to keep practicing,
Yes.
I suffocated it because I was so fixated in being an academic girly. So I think when I went into university or around about grade 10, 11, right, I started being more fixated in terms of passing my grades. So I forgot about the creative side of mine. But really, I'm great with writing and poetry if you give me time. And with drawing, it's something that I want to really go back into, because I think during primary, oh my goodness, when I look at the stuff I drew, I'm just like, there's no way I drew this. Why can't I draw now? But I'm realizing that it's something that you have to keep practicing, and then over time, it actually works. So yeah, guys, if you need somebody to perform at your wedding a love poem, hit me up.
Yeah, I think maybe for next season in your intro, you've got to include like a different poem
Listen.
per episode.
You know what? I'll try that. Give you guys stanzas,
Yeah, keep us guessing, and then you can release a book, and then we can buy a book filled with poems.
You never know. Hey, stay with me.
Hit me up if you want a marketing manager. No, I'm joking. I don't do that. Okay, so my next thing is not a question. Mm-hmm. It's more of a statement. But you were a really strong guide for me during university, during my articles. You were more than a mentor. You were a friend to me. Mm-hmm. And I mean, my university experience was very difficult. So were articles. I mean, I'm sure everyone can relate. There's always a lot going on in your house. It's a lot. It becomes a lot, and it's a mental struggle. But I just wanted to say thank you. And thank you for doing all of this and really like putting in the work for all of us. I mean, I'm sure there's so many of us who are just extremely grateful to you.
Yeah. Wow. I'm so emotional right now because I'm so proud of you. I'm really, really, really so proud of you. Because I do feel like it is hard convincing people or making people see their light. It is very hard. But seeing you become, it's testament that personally my efforts didn't go to waste. It's testament that you listened. Sometimes the expectations were crazy to say, why are you submitting this at this time and all of that. But I feel like seeing you become is evidence and proof that my words, my encouragement, and me showing up for you the best way I could didn't go to waste. It actually paid off. And don't stop, man. I'm really proud of you. You're brilliant and you are going places.
Thank you.
Yeah, my favorite thing is just seeing you become, even the day you got admitted, I was screaming like a crazy person. I'm like, yes, yes, yes. She listened, she showed up, and yeah, man, I'm so proud.
Thank you so much.
I'm so proud, and it's
you.
a pleasure.
I'm going to cry now as well. I hope you all enjoyed getting to know Yvonne a little bit better, because I know I have over the years, and I hope I'm going to continue to. Subscribe and like and tell your friends. Share this link with people. You never know who you might be helping by sharing the video. You don't know what you're going to teach your friend.
Yeah. So thank you so much for being the host. This felt like it was so nice, chilling here and being relaxed, guys. This is the last season. This is season finale. Until we see you in season 4, keep liking, keep subscribing, keep sharing, use the thank you option. And I am going to drop like some of the highlights of the previous videos every Wednesday and Sunday so that the algorithm does not forget us. But I'll see you soon in September with a new episode. Stay blessed.